Systemic Integration Across Levels, a conversation on unified educational reform. Hello, I would like to begin a conversation about the importance of coordination in education reform. It should be obvious that change cannot happen in isolation. True reform requires a synchronized effort across all levels of the education system. But doesn't it follow that without alignment between teachers, schools, districts, states, and federal policies, even the best-intended reforms will struggle to take hold? I have observed that when different levels of the education system operate in silos, progress becomes fragmented. Teachers may introduce innovative teaching methods, but if schools don't support them, their impact is limited. Schools may want to implement new curricula, but if district or state policies don't align, meaningful change is difficult. Can you imagine how much more effective reform would be if every level of the system worked in concert, ensuring that policies, training, and resources were integrated seamlessly? Wouldn't it be more powerful if teachers were given both autonomy and institutional backing to make real, lasting improvements in their classrooms? Doesn't it follow that diverse communities require tailored solutions, not one-size-fits-all mandates? Education reform must account for the unique needs of urban, rural, and marginalized communities. Yet broad policies often fail to adapt to these differences. It should be obvious that for reform to be effective, there must be a balance between national standards and localized flexibility. What if districts were empowered to customize solutions while still aligning with overarching educational goals? Wouldn't it be more effective if reform efforts considered the voices of those directly impacted, students, teachers, and parents, rather than just policymakers? It is time now to recognize that the most successful education systems are those that ensure communication and collaboration between all stakeholders. Can you imagine the impact of an education system where teachers, administrators, and policymakers were not just implementing separate initiatives, but working together toward a shared vision? What if reforms were designed with a long-term approach, ensuring continuity across leadership transitions and policy shifts? Wouldn't it be transformative if instead of reactive, fragmented changes, we built a system that was consistently evolving toward equity and excellence? I have observed that policies at the federal and state levels often dictate changes without sufficient input from the people working within the system. Doesn't it follow that top-down mandates, without proper integration across districts and schools, often lead to resistance and inconsistency? It should be obvious that reform must be a two-way conversation, where educators and local communities help shape policy, not just implement it. What if we restructured decision-making processes so that educators were at the forefront of shaping the future of learning? It should be obvious that true systemic reform is not just about implementing new ideas. It's about ensuring those ideas can be sustained across every level of education. Can you imagine the impact if schools had the resources, training, and administrative support needed to turn policies into real-world improvements? What if every level of the system was aligned in a way that made education adaptable, inclusive, and responsive to change? Wouldn't it be more powerful if students could experience a seamless, high-quality education regardless of where they lived or what school they attended? The future of education depends on how well we integrate reforms across all levels. It is time now to move beyond fragmented, isolated changes and build a system where innovation, policy, and practice work together harmoniously. Doesn't it follow that if we want to create a truly effective and equitable education system, we must ensure that every level, from the classroom to the highest policymaking bodies, is moving in the same direction? The real challenge isn't whether change is needed, it's whether we can coordinate it in a way that truly serves all students.